Hi, I'm Solomon Freeman. I'm going to talk to you today about land trusts or fideicomisos in Mexico. Basically, how do foreigners buy land in Mexico? Okay, so what is a fideicomiso? It's a trust. It's a trust very similar to the North American trust that you might know. The fideicomiso was changed a little bit for use in Mexico from the trust that we know. In North America, the trust actually has its own personality. It's an entity all by itself. Here in Mexico, the trust is just a contract. It doesn't have any entity, it's not a person, and you can't take a trust to court. Okay, so how does it work? There are three parties that intervene in a traditional trust. The three parts of the fideicomiso are the trustor, or the seller, the beneficiary, or the buyer, and the trustee, or the bank. In some cases in Mexico, brokerage firms and also insurance agencies can also be the trustee, but normally it's the bank. So that's something interesting about a trust in Mexico. The trustee is always a bank, which gives a certain amount of security and safety to the beneficiary, because the property is going to be owned by the bank, not by any particular person. So how does this work? John Smith, a foreigner, wants to buy a piece of property here in Mexico. He's found a piece of property and is ready to pay for it. He's going to buy it from Juan Perez. Juan Perez is going to make a trust agreement with the bank. In that agreement, the ownership of the property is transferred to the bank for use by John Smith. Now, these trust agreements that the foreigners commonly use to acquire land here in Mexico are irrevocable. That means that once Juan Perez transfers property to the bank, he never gets it back. Now, Juan Perez is no longer in the picture. The two parts remaining in this contract are the bank, or the trustee, and the beneficiary. Who is John Smith? John Smith can do pretty much whatever he wants with the property as long as it falls in the trust agreement. Each trust agreement is different, but pretty much rent, reconstruct, remodel, rebuild, do whatever you want, sell, as long as it's in the trust agreement. Each trust agreement is different, and so before you buy a piece of the property, you really need to consult with your attorney and go over the trust agreement to make sure that it suits your needs. There are two things I really like about these trusts that foreigners use to acquire land in the restricted zone. One, the trust is very safe. While the property is owned by the bank, it doesn't fall within the bank's active assets, and therefore it can't be foreclosed on or taken away from the bank if there's any financial problems. And at the same time, the bank can't do anything with the property unless there's express written permission from the owner or the beneficiary. Two, the Mexican land trusts allow you to name a secondary beneficiary. This means you can designate an heir in case something happens to you, which is really good because probate court or any court proceeding here in Mexico can take years and can be very expensive. In this case, with a secondary beneficiary on the trust, in order for them to take over as beneficiary of the trust, all they have to do is prove to the bank with a death certificate or something like that that the primary beneficiary has passed away. In conclusion, the Mexican Land Trust is a great, easy, convenient, and safe way for foreigners to purchase land in the restricted zone in Mexico.